Dr. Chuel, Dr. Schlanger, Mrs. Lyons, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. The conclusive goal in life is to find ourselves, balancing buoyancy with self-improvement. For years, I have struggled with soul-searching and looking deep enough inside myself to find out who I am. Currently, I am still finding new parts of myself every day. The way we discover ourselves is by going through experiences, wonderful and miserable. While still learning who I am, I have realized it is not only the experience that teaches us and helps us comprehend who we are, but the time spent examining ourselves after and reflecting on our actions. To look for oneself with a lantern is a misuse of time. It's walking through a field deliberately, trying to find pieces of yourself and embracing the journey around you. Keep moving forward. Let your heart guide you to your destination until you can open the lantern and find that the pieces of yourself have been there the whole time. Unfortunately, we don't know the lessons we need to learn to find these missing pieces of our identity. One of the most memorable experiences of my life taught me a lesson I never knew I needed to learn. Last year, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. My first thought was the default, that it was going to get better. When she sat me down, my focus was all on how she was feeling, even though actively she was trying to get me to express how I felt. Nevertheless, my calmness soon turned to worry and fear, as expected. When we think of parents, they are and seem to be the strongest people on earth. They comfort us, care for us, and love us unconditionally. I became lost. I wanted to ask my mom what to do, but I realized she too was navigating an unexpected path. My mom, one of the strongest people I know, was being faced with a challenge, and I, more than anything, wanted to take it on myself. Whenever my mother tells me she loves me, I always tell her I love her more, and I will always mean it. She is actively my biggest cheerleader, personal advocate, personal chef, role model, comedian, and so much more. With the millions of hats that she puts on for me, she puts on even more hats outside of the house and switches them seamlessly. More than anything, in my reasonable worry about my mom, I neglected my own feelings by trying to stay strong, which wasn't healthy for me at the time or the people around me. I soon figured out that people must go to the ones they love most and ask them for guidance, even if they don't feel comfortable. I now believe we grow more from asking questions and making mistakes than acting like we know it all and trying to learn it all on our own. I have learned this on many separate occasions. As the time got closer to my mom's surgery, I became more increasingly worried about her. I panicked and didn't know the proper way to handle my emotions. I didn't know how or who to bring the topic up to when I suddenly felt anxious or sad. The only thing that made it worse was hearing about it all over TV, news, and even in books. I felt there was no escaping it, but instead of facing my fear, I made it one of those inescapable problems that hover over you like a storm cloud. It began to cloud my judgment. I felt 10 times worse when my day was already bad. I knew I had to get out of this, but I needed to figure out how. I turned to another person who would give me the best advice and whom I felt totally at ease with, my grandma. She has been there for me since I was in my mother's womb. On the first day of Buckley, she was here urging me on with an endearing smile, making friends with my teachers, and being like a second mother to me every step of the way. The night before school, she gave me her headscarf and told me to put it in my backpack so she could be with me every step of the way. I still keep that headscarf in my backpack to keep her words close to my mind, heart, and soul. To sum up what she told me in a phrase, when in doubt, pray it out. I didn't have the relationship I have with God today, but I was still a child of God. So with nothing else to do, I began to pray. I began to do this more frequently, and in my eyes, things got better. I felt better about myself and built better communication skills. I started to believe in myself and the power of prayer. It felt free to step out of that shadow of negativity I had unknowingly cast over myself. I soon learned how good it felt to step out of my comfort zone. I began to apply this to athletics, academics, and everything in between. In addition, the village and support system I built around me began to strengthen and take shape. Even though I didn't expect to learn anything, I still did. I continue to learn new things about myself every day, like who I can go to for new guidance and how to be upfront about my feelings and become more in touch with my ability to become a better person overall. For the past 13 years, I have been out with the lanterns in the vast fields of my mind, looking for my new pieces of myself. Although I have not found myself entirely, I've found security in who I am, my values, and my virtues. I sincerely hope that one day you also obtain all the pieces of your identity that have been with you the whole time. I want you to take from my words today that even if you are going through a rough patch, never forget that every experience comes with a learning opportunity and room to better yourself. Thank you.